40 minutes is never enough, Scott.
Well, as I said, we'll look into purchasing Zoom so that we can do much longer sessions for people. While we're waiting for everybody to join, any of the people that are already here, do you have a question? Not yet.
Are there any points, Scott, that I know someone was asked. I've just seen a question on our Telegram group where people were asking what kind of money's following the EA. We're probably over $250,000 at this stage. We've got one investor that's got £120,000 in his account, and the performance on that is made about signed only on the 15th of August. It's made about 27%, which would have gone up today, so he's probably on about 29%, and has made about £25,000 in since the 15th of August, which is pretty tasty stats. Drawdown's been incredibly low as well.
Okay, so I'll answer a couple of the questions that have popped up in the chat. So Eddie, yeah, I mean, I've previously worked with Social Trader Tools and know them rather well. I've got a discussion with them tomorrow to see how we can develop their systems to work with us, because we're bringing a lot of clients to them. So what I will do when I speak to them tomorrow is get full clarification of their security procedures and how they protect your data. But I've never had any issue with them at all. I mean, I've used them for many months, in previous, Forex trading and so on. So to Neil, I imagine, I mean, we'll speak to Sam, but I imagine we will potentially even turn the EA off shortly before Brexit, because nobody knows what is going to happen. And a bit like NFP, or Forex trading is all about managing risk as much as possible. So I imagine we will probably look to turn the EA off potentially a few days before, and wait to see what happens on Brexit before we turn it back on, because it would be foolish to leave it running and put, potentially people's accounts at risk. Now, we're all confident in the fact that the EA would handle it perfectly well, but there's the element of risk. So, why chance it for the sake of a few days of making a few percent? There'll be many days afterwards where we can turn it on and carry on. In reply to Sandy, we've had a lovely long chat with the FCA regarding what we're doing, and they have assured us that we are in full compliance, but what we are doing, it does not need to be FCA regulated, because we do not hold anybody's money. It's always at your access, and you are able to adjust your risk, based on that. So Jerry, what we got?
Jerry's just asked a question about leverage. Sam's mentioned that the one investor with us has got about 130,000 in his account at the moment, and still using the same leverage with IC. IC obviously got conditions on their website, but sort of state that there's no upper limit to what you trade with, and a lot of the programming around the EEA is to work with the leverage to sort of changes on an account. Any more questions? Someone said, "Can we have an NFP?" Joel, probably not.
Well, we can ask Sam. He's working on gold and crypto. We could potentially ask him. You know, if
I know Jerry's asking about what traders.
Yeah.
Jerry's just put sort of what Traders Way broker does. I mean, obviously we can't control what other brokers offer, and US regulations. Obviously, you know, we can only operate as best we can with the global restrictions that are in the forex marketplace. We can find a better broker for US clients, then we will. But as everyone knows, that's not not particularly easy because of the regulations. So as much as we can try and cater for everyone, if people haven't got IC account, there are going to be restrictions that purely completely out of our control, out of our remit, and obviously we do everything we can to work with people to either find a better solution in that respect. I know we didn't get to touch on it, but I don't know if Scott, did you want to talk about gold EA crypto?
Yeah. So when we ask people to sign up with us, the first thing we ask them to do is sign up with IC Markets. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that the EA runs on their data feed. So if you manage to have an IC Markets account, your prices will match ours exactly at the exact same time. There should be no difference in spread, prices, stop losses, take profits, everything should match exactly. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is they offer a true ECN account, which James touched on earlier, means they cannot manipulate the data, because if they do, they are in massive trouble with the Australian Industry Services Commission, which happens to be one of the strictest financial bodies in the world. So they won't be manipulating their data. One of the other reasons is we've got a tiny rev share deal with them. The rev share deal is very small. It's $2 per lot size, so it's not a lot. But we have dedicated all funds from that towards development of future EAs and services. So what that means is at the moment, Sam is currently optimizing the current EA all the time, but he is in the process of building an EA specifically for gold. Now he's having to do some more work on it because it is absolutely insane. When we say insane, in testing so far, it has turned 1,000 to 41,000 in 4 months. Now, we don't believe a broker will accept, an EA with that volume of trades over that period of time. So Sam is looking at how we can reduce that so that it's still making very good gains, but not at that volume, because it just wouldn't be accepted. On top of that, he is developing a crypto EA. As we know, the financial markets are only open Monday to Friday. Crypto is open 24/7. So if development with that EA continues to go as Sam says it is, then again that could be a more aggressive EA. So we wouldn't be expecting people to put a lot of money in it, but it would look to put small amounts in, gain large amounts over a smaller amount of time, and use those profits to move into your long-term EA account that you currently have or are looking to get with us. Whatever gains you manage to make out of it, move them into your safer option, then put another little bit back into crypto and go again. Because the issue that you'll have with gold and crypto is they will be a lot more aggressive than what the current EA is. So they make fantastic gains month on month on month, but at some point it may potentially blow an account, and we don't want any of you guys having a lot of money in an account when that happens. You know, if it's built up to a lot of money from, say, a £500 investment, and you've managed the previous 4 or 5 months to take 5, 6, 7, maybe even more £1,000 out of it, and kept going back with 500 quid each time, and it blows it, you know, you've not lost a lot. We don't want anybody sticking massive amounts into that, and there will be a full guide on our advice with using those EAs. So they're in development. As I said, we've got a meeting scheduled with Social Trader Tools to discuss how their services can be better for us and our clients, you know, because we are bringing a lot of customers their way. So that's, you know, more development. We're looking at multiple payment processes so that people can pay via Skrill, Neteller, bank transfer, PayPal, you know, and potentially other means. Just in answer to Eddie, I don't 100% know because I'm not Sam and I'm not the programmer, but I do believe he has backups of backups of backups. Knowing Sam, he's a very clever man, you know, so I don't imagine it's the live EA that he's optimizing. He probably optimizes an offline version and then imports those settings into the live EA. Normally he only does that on either a maintenance day or over a weekend if there's no trades, you know, to eliminate downtime for you lot as much as possible.
All the updates are done. Sam will do quick shutdown on the EA, shut it down for an hour or 2 hours, and do any updates. So it doesn't affect live trades, and you do it mostly when there's no open trades. What else is there in terms of questions? Jerry's asking what's the minimum leverage that's used to work with the EA. I'll drop Sam a quick message on that. What else was there? I just wanted to point out that I don't know if anyone can see that. Can you see that, Scott?
Yeah.
That's the number of losing days we've had.
A big fat zillow.
We're immensely proud of what Sam has developed, and you know, I think one of the other facts is that people got to realise is that we've also got our own money in this, and essentially we're just hoping to do what everyone else wants to do, and that's to make a living out of this. Sandy said to everyone, how long has it been trading on live accounts? Yeah, all of the funds have gone in live on the 9th of July. Everyone keeps on telling me that isn't that long. Sam's answer to that is 14 months of testing is quite a long time. And if anyone knows anything about testing, then you don't do it. You don't do testing with live funds, because the information that's gained during that period is for the programmer. So why gamble? Essentially, 26 months before it was ready after testing, and essentially the sort of proof is in the results, really, more than anything. Amazingly we get quite a lot of challenges on a daily basis. We get quite, you know, sort of almost criticism, which, you know, for us is, you know, we're very passionate about the system and what we're doing. So, you know, I guess when you're presenting yourself in a market where people are ready to try and shoot you down, then you've got to expect it. But ultimately we're going to lead the way with the EA, and it really doesn't matter what people try and throw at us. There's nothing to hide apart from grab onto our sort of coattails, really. Competition. We've had someone come to us today trying to figure out how the EA works, kind of discreetly trying to get programming information out of me. But as much as I look pretty stupid, I'm relatively smart. So we're very defensive in the sense that what we've got is something that everybody else is gonna want to be a part of or have a piece of the pie. Let's just see if there's any more questions. Does anyone want to know anything else particularly about the EA? Or
while we're waiting for a question, just to again sort of talk on development. As I said, we are in talks with STT to see how their systems can work better for us. Long term, we're looking at our own software that will manage the EA. We'll manage the hosting of all clients' accounts. We'll manage all of the payment, in terms of the performance billing, and also payments to any partners who have done any recruiting or anybody that is due any money from us. That's probably going to cost upwards of 10 grand or more. It may even have to be completely custom made, which would take some time and obviously funds to do that. But that is the level of investment that we're prepared to go to, to ensure that we have what we feel is one of the products on the market. Are you all right there, Bobby? Right, so yeah, does he start with zeros on the first and then reach when it reaches 2000? Does it move? So yeah, just to give you an idea of the risk by balance system, which I'll post the complete breakdown for on the Facebook group, is a system often used by copy trading, so that accounts use relevant risk in relation to the accounts on that they're copying from. So we've decided that it will be 0.01 per 500 that's in the account. Now the account is in GBP. So if the issue many of you will face at the beginning is if you've got 500, you'll be at 0.1 on the first round. Then if we get into a hedge, it might go up to 0.2 or even 0.3. And that will stay the same until you hit twice the amount of what is in the master account. Now, the master account is currently sat at about £580. So you'll have to get up to 1,160 at the moment before it would double your trade size. But that said, once the master account hit 1,000, if you had 1,000, your trade size would match theirs. So it's constantly adjusting based on the master account trade balance compared to yours. Now that will mean that at some point you're making 0.5% a day when some other people are making 1 or 2%. But then when your balance clicks into the next level in comparison to the master account, you may have days where you make 3, 4, 5, even 6% or more, while others are at that point making 0.5% or 1%. The key thing to remember in all of it is as long as you are making consistent gains, do not worry about what everybody else is doing. Ultimately, worry about yourself. I know obviously it's disheartening if you're seeing 0.5% a day and somebody else has made 4% that day, but ultimately 0.5% a day on your account is 15% a month. And if you're making that every month and compounding it, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years time, you will never have to work another day in your life, because the way that will build over 5 years is incredible. Compounding and consistent gains is the key to all of you guys either having a retirement that you will never forget, or being able to retire early, you know, and live the kind of lives that you all want to.
I'm just going to jump in, Scott. Eddie's asked a question about the hedging, and does it just get to a point where it cuts off and takes a loss? No, is the answer to that. It will effectively create an actual hedge, and hedge in the position or direction of the market. So yes, it would take an extreme market move to even get in that position, bearing in mind, like I said, you know, it's handled 100 pip spikes and only been in sort of like 6 to 10% drawdown. In the instance that a market shifted 100, 200 pips and just kept going, the EA would effectively hedge the initial hedge and would bring you out in profit, and potentially, yes, the drawdown would sort of increase sort of 30% plus. You know, it's based on small lot sizes, so it's not like it's going to be extreme enough to blow the count. It will handle that, but the condition for that to happen has to be pretty extreme, and hasn't happened this year. So, you know, obviously, you've got to be either in the wrong place at the wrong time, or you could be trading with it. So it's really difficult to actually say, you know, when will it happen, sort of thing, because it's sort of impossible to say, really. It's just that the EA has got that in its armory. So sort of in that instance, no, we don't have to accept a loss, because the EA will make profit, and coming out of that, it would make more profit in that circumstance than it would in a normal sort of day. So yeah, that's kind of how that would work.
Yeah, just I've messaged Jerry on the thing. Yeah, so if you've got an account that's in a different base currency, so Australian dollar, US dollar, euro, rand, anything like that, in order for your hedging to work in the, or you know, your lot sizing to work in the same way as the master account, it needs to be the equivalent of 500 per 0.01 lot size. So if you've got, you know, US dollars, you'll need roughly $660 per £500 to have the same level of funds as the master account, and therefore have the same lot sizing. We have found that somebody who signed up with $500 didn't end up getting the increase in lot size when a trade went up against us, and the EA obviously calculated more trades and went in at a higher lot size. Theirs didn't go up higher. You know, so we've looked into that with STT, and STT come back and confirm that because of the difference in currencies, it needs to be the equivalent of 500 UK pounds for every 500 UK pound that is in the master account. Now, when the master account hits 1,000 UK, it will jump up to 0.02 base lot size. So if somebody's got 500 pounds in their starting account, they'll be on 0.01 because it's half the balance. Again, you know, equivalents in other base currencies will be needed. Anybody got anything else for us that I can think of? I hope everything that we've said so far is understood. The video is being recorded and will be posted on the Q&A thread on Facebook for anybody who's missed it, or anybody who wants to go back and listen to it again, etc. So we do record all of our webinars, and they will be available also on the website. We're building a client portal area on the website, So everybody who signs up with us will then sign up to the client portal on the website, where it will have every document that you need to understand compounding, how the EA works. We'll upload all of the webinars in there, so you can sit and watch them to understand anything. We'll be doing, moving forward, we'll be doing webinars specifically on compounding, specifically on various different topics surrounding the EA and the business. In regards to becoming a partner, there's no specific criteria, just the willingness to go out and approach people. I'm just going to mute Adrian so we don't get the feedback from that. So just the willingness to go out and speak to people, promote our service using the marketing material that we will provide. We provide the profit images, we provide the captions used for social marketing material on social media. We do as much as we can to give you guys a base to bring in customers and build your own mini business inside AFT. And if you recruit a few clients, you'll earn a few £100 a month. If you recruit many clients, you could earn a few £1,000 a month or more, and that will that cut will continue to grow as your customers' account sizes do, because our 20% grows. Our 20% is relevant to your cut from that. So for those of you that can see the bigger picture, recruiting clients now may earn you a few £100 a month. In a few years, that may be a few £1,000 a month, to the point that you're earning enough residual income a month from that, plus on top of what you've got in your own personal account, to completely quit work and live, a very comfortable life or better, working from home for yourself, your own boss, working the hours that you want to work, as part of the AFT team. So for those of you that are interested in that, we'll put up a partner program document for you to look at, and those that want to get involved, James, is head of the partner program, and we'll sort of go through with it. Anybody who's interested, how they can get involved. We've got a member of the compliance team who is extremely good at sales and marketing, something that he's done, as part of his own portfolio of skills over the years, and is very good at it. And he will work with anybody who's looking to, build a team of customers. And that's really what it is. We've got roles and responsibilities for partners that should be followed, because you are essentially representing AFT when you go out and promote to the world. So there's ways that we'd obviously like you to conduct yourselves, and information that that you can share. So there is massive potential for anybody who's prepared to work for it. As I said in the presentation, for those of you that just want to refer a few friends and family, absolutely fine. We've got a program for that as well, where you can get a reduction on your personal account percentage that we take each month, for referring friends and family. I can give anybody who's interested in that can ask for details on Facebook, again, and we'll happily provide that. Giles asked about, can the settings be adjusted to make profits? Short-term answer, yes. Long-term answer, don't. The EA is set at low risk for a reason. If we wanted increased risk and increased profits, Sam would just program it for that reason. Anybody who adjusts their settings than what we advise, we're not responsible for what happens to your account at that point. If you go and blow your account, that's on you. And we don't advise anybody to change any settings without speaking to us first, because ultimately you're placing your account at far greater risk than needed. It's not get rich quick. It is consistent long-term gains that will make people, extremely well off in the future. And you've got to have that vision to look 3 to 5 years into the future, because if you try and do it too fast, too soon, we all know what happens. And that's why many of you are here. Most of you have been stung in some way, or put your money into something that sounds too good to be true, and it can make 200 and 300% in a month, and before you know it, your account balance is blown. Again, to what Joel's just mentioned, we've got a private investor who's now got over £120,000 in his account, and that is handling his trades without an issue whatsoever.
Actually, Scott, as well, the bigger the balance, the safer that the account becomes, and also you can reduce the risk settings. So, say if you had £1 million, you could put the risk settings down to sort of 0.5%, 0.25%. Because you essentially, you don't need to be chasing the market when you've got a high volume of money. It's not saying that you have to, but the capacity is there to.
And that ties in quite nicely with what was mentioned earlier about changing leverages. As your account size gets bigger and your leverage comes down, you can adjust your risk setting to come down to accommodate that. Yes, okay, so you're not going to be making the same amount of percentage gains, etc., but you won't need to. Your account size is going to be big enough that you're still going to be making considerable monetary gains. And that's the key for everybody, is monetary gains. It's all right making 100%, but if 100% is not a lot,
Jerry, sorry, Scott. Jerry's just asked what the lot size is for the private investor. I'll just run through them. He had balance of 130, just under 130,000. Lot sizes were 2.55 as a standard, and during the hedge it went up to 4.3. So I've got a little way to go before I get there, but so 2.55 as a standard open-in trade, and then 2.83, 3.14, so around that sort of figure.
So and just to sort of follow on from Joel saying about where we might be in 5 years, again, it will also sort of come down to where AFT is in 5 years, because we'll be in a much better position. For example, me and James have got big plans with Sam to approach IC Markets in the future regarding a potential partnership. So AFT will be in a better position than we are now to, allow, have a broker that will manage those sort of size accounts without an issue, and potentially give us favourable terms on it because of the amount of custom we would be bringing to them, the amount of volume, the amount of money that would be coming into them. So IC Markets were one of the ones that we picked, Sandy, because they are not affected by ESMA regulations. Now, we can't tell you what the Australian markets are going to do, or what ASIC are going to do at any point, because they could change their mind, to follow European legislation. They haven't yet, and I don't see any reason that they would. But again, I can't tell you what is going to happen a few years down the line for that.
Someone's asked, Jim's asked about what profit as a private investor had. My notes on his account staged his money coming into his account starting on the August the 15th. He's made about 29%. So he's up around about £25,000 since the 15th of August. He's making on average anything between sort of £900 and £2,000 a day.
Max lot size for IC Markets. On their site, they don't list max lot size. They don't say that there's a maximum at all. Having looked on MyFXBook and a quick Google, MyFXBook's listed as 1,000 for the lot size, but IC Markets haven't got, they've put on their website that there isn't a maximum. But if we're getting up to 1,000 for a lot size, somebody's a very, very, very rich man.
Or woman.
Or woman. So,
yeah, but I mean, like in terms of like IC, you know, their monthly volume is 400 billion. So, you know, to even put a scratch in that, you're talking ridiculous amount of money. So, no one at the moment that, you know, we're aware of is coming in with £1 million or 2 million or 5 million, and even that, you know, you're not going to put even a scratch in their monthly volume. So, you know, the capacity of them is a lot bigger than what we are. Also, people keep asking me about, oh, well, you know, how am I going to get my money out if I do have $1 million or 4 million or whatever? IC don't actually hold your money. They have to, by regulation, has to be put into a tier 1 bank, which is, you know, the likes of, you know, sort of high street level banking. So, you know, they can't trade with your money, which is exactly what our banks probably do in the UK. So, in terms of, you know,
if you put your money in a bank account, the reason a bank pay you interest is in the terms and conditions. You give them permission to use your money on the financial markets. So, you know, and they're making money, you know, billions of pounds, and they're losing billions of pounds, you know, depending on the markets. So, you know, if the bank is using your money, they pay you interest for that. That's what they pay you interest for the privilege of using your money for themselves.
Yes, Jim is the answer to that. By regulation, your money's insured. You know, if people want to have a look at sort of ASIC regulations and what's required under them, Sam's just jumped in. Our private investor is going to be taking out substantial cut of his money because he's committed to another investment before he came to us. So he's probably going to be withdrawing around £100,000 out of IC Markets. So we're going to, without giving away his identity, but we're actually going to get a copy of his statement and prove that level of money can be withdrawn without issue.
Yeah, you know, just on the private investor, as I said, he's put 108,500 in. He's probably looking to take that out when he withdraws, and we should be leaving him with upwards of £50,000 to £60,000 profit in that time. You know, which is a period of, you know, 3 months, give or take a week. You know, so that's you know, a substantial return. And what I want you guys to focus on the long term. You know, that is you guys from £500 in, you know, 3 to 4 years, just by compounding it. 3 to 4 years, you'll have an account with 100 grand or more in potentially, just by compounding and seeing the long term vision. You know, so we've got less than a minute left, so this will stop soon. Anybody who's got any further questions, pop them on the Facebook thread, you know, and one of us will get back to you as soon as we can. Obviously, appreciate it's getting late, and James, you know, for example, is up early in the morning with his young children.